A very good morning to one and all for the National Faculty Development Program. On behalf of Miller College for Men, PG and Research Department of Commerce, in association with IQSC, I welcome you all for the second day of our national level faculty development program on research methodology for social science. With the blessings of Lord, let's begin the program by welcoming Dr. G. Vinayagamurthy Sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to propose welcome address. Vinayagamurthy Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning to one and all. Joined virtually in our 2 days national level faculty development program. It's my pleasure and honor to deliver the welcome address. I welcome our correspondent and secretary Algaji Daud Miyakan Sahib. I welcome our dynamic director Dr. A. Rafi sir for joining us. I welcome our energetic admin manager Janaf T. Muhammad Iqbal sir. I welcome our principal and head of the department Dr. M. Amtul Dawab ma'am. And I welcome our resource person, Dr. V. Deenadayalan sir, working as associate professor on deputation from Annamalai University in the postgraduate department of commerce, Sri Subramania Swamy Government Arts College, Tittani. He has more than 20 years of teaching and research experience and has produced 10 MPhil and 4 PhD scholar. He is currently guiding 3 PhD research scholar in the field of banking and human resource. He is specialized in finance, banking, income tax, and statistics. He has published more than 22 articles in national journals and 91 in referred international journal, and contributed more than 49 chapters in various edited books. He has presented and participated in more than 124 national and 68 international seminars and conferences. He has also written course material for MBA, Hospital Management. One of his article entitled Automation of Banking Sector in India, New Delhi, published in 9 languages, namely Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Assami, Urdu, Punjabi, Orissa, Hindi, and English, respectively. By Publication Division, Ministry of I&B, Government of India. The same has been documented in parliamentary documentation. He also delivered the e-learning material through his own YouTube channel. Apart from this, he has received various awards from various institutions for his service towards academia. Our Miller College is indeed proud in having you as your resource person, sir. I welcome you with almost respect for our faculty development program. Do English as with your presentation, sir.
Thank you, Vinayagamurthy Sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Now I request Dr. Deenadayalan Sir to take over the session. Sir Deenadayalan Sir.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, sir. You can take over the session, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vinayagamurthy sir. And I thank the management of Miller College, especially the secretary and correspondent. During this pandemic period, the college has contributed something for the uh, betterment for the faculty members. Because during this pandemic period, the people are scattered. No one, due to social distancing, people are very much scattered. And this is the platform where we can enhance our knowledge during this pandemic period. And I congratulate the management and coordinating team of Paidamlit College for organizing this wonderful faculty development program. And the two on three aspects. The one is on finance, another one is on research methodology, another one on online teaching. And these three are correlated. The topic is enhancing knowledge on research methodology, online teaching, financial management technique. Without management of a fund, we can't go for any research. Ultimately, the research output it is used to be for a community. And this college perfectly chosen the topic on touching on all the three aspects: finance, research, and contribution to the society. In this way, I congratulate the coordinating team and the correspondent and all the members who are painfully contributed their efforts for conducting this 2 days online FDP program. Madam, is it clear? Hello, madam.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir. You make it as a slideshow,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir. Clear, sir. Clear.
Ah. The enhancing the knowledge on a research methodology for social sciences. This is the correct topic, and all the budding researcher and also the academicians are very much known about what is research, what is methodology, and everything. But this is slightly different. It's enhancing the knowledge. They are already having the knowledge, but this is the topic on enhancing the knowledge on research methodology for social sciences. Actually, research it's a word. It's derived from the French. Research means seek or search. One will seek exhaustively for three reasons only: for more explanation, for more verifiable truth, existing truth, and to make discoveries. For three reasons only, the people are search. This is the word derived from the French. Origin of the word is origin from the French. If you ask anybody to what is a research, they will tell research means finding the answer to the questions through research, new and original information, idea about the world we live in or obtain. The research is a search for the knowledge. Research is defined as a systematic and scientific search for the information on a specific topic. This is things the people, everyone knows what is research. Whereas research is an organized and a systematic way of finding answer to the questions. What it mean by organized? What is systematic? What is finding the answer? What is question? What is organized? It means it's a planned procedure. For any researcher, we should have some planning. Without planning, we should not go for any type of a research. Another one is systematic. Systematic is nothing but it is a set of procedure and steps which has to be followed for any type of research. And ultimate result of the research is find the answer for the problem or answer for the research. Sometimes there will be no answer, but it is still an answer for the problem. And the question is without question, research has no focus, drive, or the purpose. So with the question only, we are going to search. Okay, we are searching that particular thing or this problem. So research is a systematic one because it follows certain logical orders. These orders are one is the understanding the nature of problem. The next one is the reviewing the literature, collecting the data, analyzing the data, and finally draw your conclusions and make it as a generalization. So here, one will have to understand and study and identify the related problem associated with the world or maybe the its in area, and he has to review the literature related to that particular problem and collect the data and analyze the data with appropriate statistical tools and draw the conclusions. So this is the logical order, and it's a systematic order and every researcher has to follow. Then only it is a research is called a scientific research because it follows some logical order. Research is an original contribution to the existing stock of knowledge making for its advancement. So research is a serious academic activity with a set of objectives to explain or analyze or understand a problem or finding a solutions for a particular problem, adopting a systematic approach in collections, a systematic approach in organizing, a systematic approach in analyzing the information relating to the particular problem. P.V. Younger defines research. It's a method. It's a method of study. It's a method of analyzing. It's a method of conceptualizing the social life in order to extend or modify, correct or verify the knowledge, whether that knowledge aid in construction of theory or in practice of an art. So Webster Collegiate Dictionary is defined research. It is a studious inquiry or examination, investigation or experimentation aimed at the discovery and interpretation of fact, revision of accepted theories or laws in the light of new fact or practical application of such a new or revised theories of law. From these definitions, we can identify research is an effort to gain a deep insight on any issue of concept or process in a systematic way of attaining it, to discover a new information or new understanding about it. The purpose of research is to advance the frontier of the knowledge by creating a new knowledge, and this can be done by discovering something new or testing the validity of which is known already. The criteria for any good researcher is the purpose should be clearly defined and research process should be detailed. Research design should be planned one, and it should have a high ethical standard. Research should have the high ethical standard, avoid the plagiarisms, and whatever the limitation, the researcher should frankly reveal and adequate analysis for the decisions maker is needed. And find your present, find your that is you have to present your findings clearly in your research, and whatever the conclusion, it should be justified, and the whole thing is reflect the researcher experience. So these are the criteria for a good researcher. And also there is a problem in research. One is uncontrollable variables. So that is sometimes some variables, because due to this pandemic period, the researcher are very difficult to collect the question, or by means of personal interview method or by means of observation, they are unable to contact with the sample or unable to contact with the population. These are all uncontrollable variables in research. Another one is a human tendency. It varies from one person to another person, from vary to time to time. That is also another research problem. Time and money, these two are very important for any researcher to complete any research. These two are very, very important one. These are all another problem in research. And a lack of computer knowledge, applications of some statistical tools, or SPSS, whatever it may be, the knowledge should have for the researcher. And also another one is insufficient interaction between the university research department and the business establishment, because one side is demand, another one is supply. these two are not interacting sufficiently. Another one is the lack of confidence on the part of business. You need to give the information. If you go for any case study, the company or whatever the institution, they hesitate to give the information about their institutions. This is also another problem in social science research. So these are the types of research: descriptive research, exposed factor research, analytical research. There are different types of research. These are classified, and here descriptive research, it nothing but the descriptive research attempt to determine, describe, or identify what is the sample. It justly describe what is the nature. It's a qualitative research. Here, the research in this researcher will identify only the fact. Okay, the major purpose of a descriptive research is only description of the state of affairs, what it is, and describe and determine what is the sample is by using of simple statistical tools. And another type of research is exposed factor research or after the factor research. So in this research, the studies are conducted after something has happened, and the research is in which the investigation start after the fact has occurred without the inference from the researcher. The main characteristics of this method is that the research has no control over the variables. You can only report what is happened, what is happening only. Just whatever things have happened in this type of research, just we are reporting. Another one is analytical research. In this type of research, the researcher has to use fact or information already available and analyze this to make a critical evaluation for the material. Another is a fundamental research or basic or pure research. So in this research, it's mainly concerned with the generalization and formulation of the theory. Applied research is aimed to finding a solution for an immediate problem facing a society or an industrial or business organization. Another is a quantitative research is based on the measurement of quantity or amount. It is applicable to the phenomena that can be expressed in terms of quantity. It focuses on describing the characteristics of the population. Quality research is concerned with the quality phenomena involving the quality or kind. It focuses on describing the individual experience and beliefs. Conceptual research, it is generally used by the philosopher and the thinker to develop a new concept or reinterpret the existing one. Empirical research, it is a database research coming up with the conclusion which are capable of verified by the observation or experiment. We can call it as a experimental type of research also. And this is the cross-sectional research. In this type of research, the data is collected from different groups at the same time period and observes the variability and which one is the influencing group. It's a cross-sectional research. It is the data is collected at a single point of time from a different group, and this can be compared with one group to another group. Next one is a longitudinal research. Here the research is carried on over a several time period with the same group. Okay, here the group the consists of the same samples. Group 1, group 2, group 1 here, same group and different time period. We are investigating on this behavior of the group. This is a longitudinal research. Field setting research. When the data of the research need to be taken from the field work, it is known as a field setting research. It's nothing but ethnographic research. In ethnographic research, the researcher sit with a particular group and observe the behavior. It is used in anthropological area. And another one is a case study research. Is a in-depth comparison study of a particular person or a particular social group or a situation or a community or an institution or any other social unit. It's an in-depth about a particular unit. It's a case study research. It is describing the nature of the particular social group. Another was exploratory research. The objectives of the exploratory research is the development of hypotheses rather than their testing. Historical research, it is the research which utilizes historical sources like a document, a report, etc. It's mainly depends on secondary data. To study the event or idea of the past, including the philosophy of person and the group at any remote point. So this is the flow chart of any research process. It starts with defining the research problem to finally for reporting. And this is the mind map of a research methodology. What we are going to discuss in this FDP. Methodology is nothing but it's a study of method by which we are gain the knowledge. By applying the various research type, we are going to find a solution for the problem. So this is nothing but a component of a research from this mind map of a research methodology. There are 12 components. One is the title, introduction, statement of problem, review of literature, objectives of study, hypothesis of for the study, research design, conceptual framework, data collection and analysis, report writing, implication of the study, conclusion, and a selected bibliography. This is the component of research from this mind map. This is listed down here. For any research, the title is very, very important. And it should be precise, it should be clear, and it should be a specific one. It should be and catchy. It should be precise means the wording should be precise, and it should be clear. It should be clear in conceptual. It should be specific on a particular scope, and it should be attractive and it should be catchy. The researcher, while drafting the title, they should keep in mind of these four things. And here some titles, incorrect and corrected titles here. One is the financial and operational performance analysis of merger and acquisition in Indian banking sector. Yes, it's a study. It's a simple way the researcher have drafted the title, but you can change this title as it's an analysis of merger and acquisitions in Indian banking sector in post liberalization era, and exploratory study. And there's another one is the impact of merger acquisition in Indian banking sector, Indian banking in the post liberalization era. Like that, you can change your title in the precise, clear, and specific and catchy manner. Another one is the introduction. In a researcher, the researcher should introduce his research theme from macro to micro. The topic covering its origin, meaning, purpose, development at the various timeline from international level, national level, regional level, and at a present status. It gives a clear picture about how the researcher has put his effort. While reading the problem or a researcher, while reading that particular introduction stage, introduction part, we can able to identify what is the researcher is going to convey from this research. Another one is a statement of problem. Here, the proposed research topic should have the genuine need for any investigations. And this investigation may be from, for example, high turnover of employee of a reputed five-star hotel affects its revenue. An increasing trend of farmer suicide in a particular region. Decelerating the sale trend of a well-known popular automobile company affects its sales revenue. COVID-19 lockdown affect the livelihood of street vendor. COVID-19 lockdown affect the learning behavior of the school children. If yes, that is a problem. The problem is nothing but it's a question or an issue to be examined. Research problem refers to some difficulties or need which a researcher experience in this context of either theoretical or practical situation and want to obtain a solution for the same. Where we get the problem, research problem, it's in and around us. For social studies, for business studies, we can get the research problem from the customer complaints or conversation with the company employees or observing the inappropriate behavior or a condition in the firm or deviation from the business plan, success of the firm's competitor, relevant reading of published materials, company records and reports, academic experience, daily experience, exposure to the field situation, consultation, brainstorming, research, sometimes intuition also a source of identifying the problem. There are two type of factors effects. One is the internal and another is the external. With the researcher own interest, he may choose a particular problem, or sometimes the researchability of the problem, or importance or urgency, also a criteria for a selection of a problem. These are the steps in defining a problem. One is first, the researcher should understand the nature of the problem, and he should survey the available literature. From the literature, he has to develop an idea through discussions or brainstorming and rephrase the research problem. This is very, very important. Rephrasing of research problem. So here, this is the problem, research problem. Why is the productivity in Japan so much higher than in India? So here, the productivity in Japan so much higher than in India. So here we apply the brainstorming. What sort of productivity is being referred, and what period is referred, which sector is referred. While brainstorming this, we can rephrase what factors were responsible for the higher labor productivity. So here the productivity is a labor productivity of Japan. Which sector? Manufacturing industry. During the period 2010 to 2019 relative to India's manufacturing industries. So here, what sort of productivity is a labor productivity, and the period is 2010 and 2019, and which sector is the manufacturing industries. So here, while brainstorming, or we can rephrase the problems. And there is a difference between a research topic and a research problem. A research topic, it is something to read and obtain the information about it. Whereas a research problem, it is something to be solved or framed as a question raised for inquiry, consideration, or solution. It's a topic is something to understand, whereas a research problem is something that need to be investigated. And the fourth component is a review of literature. So review of literature is used to understand how others have approached or dealt with the problem. So this is the purpose of a literature review. From the literature review, we can gain the background knowledge of the research topic. We can identify the concept. We can identify the data source used by other researcher. We can identify the research design, appropriate methodology, and it is helpful for the formulation of hypotheses, and learn how others are structured their report. And these are the sources of literatures, books and journal, electronic database, government report, research dissertation or thesis. Internet is an important source. And while reviewing the literature, the researcher should keep it in mind. One is they should read relevant literature and refer the original work and read with understanding, read in time, index the literature. So here refer the original work. It means the researcher has to refer the original work, direct work published by that particular author, not from another secondary sources. Okay, he has to go for the original published work of a particular author. And another important thing is the researcher has to index the literature. Indexing the literature is useful for various stages of research. So indexing is done on topic. Literature indexing should be on topic. Literature indexing on various methods adopted. Literature indexing on the approaches. So like that, if you index the literature, then this literature can be useful on various stages of research. On identification process, we can use research literature. Okay, and for formulation stage also we can use literature. Research for formulation, research design, field work, and data preparation and analysis, and for presentation also we can use the literature. If you index on this type of literature on topic, method, approach, you can index this topic. And establishment of research objective. Next component is objective is nothing but it refers to the question to be answered through the study. They indicate what we are trying to get from the study or the expected result or outcome of the study. Research objective should be clear and achievable. It should be specified in the form of either statement or question. Generally, it has been written using the word to discover, to determine, to establish a relationship, like that. So research objective is framed from a research question, and research question is framed from the statement of problem. Okay, from the statement of problem, researcher convert the problem into a researchable question. From researchable question, the researcher convert it into research objectives. So here are the examples of research questions and the research objectives. Here, how the quality of work life is pursued in the NGP. This is a research question. And a research objective is to study the quality of work life of employees of new generation private sector banks in India. And do HRM practice influence the quality of work life of the employee of new generation private sector banks? This is the research question. And a research objective is to analyze the influence of HRM practices on quality of work life of the employees of NGP, new generation private sector banks in India. So from the statement of problem, researcher convert that problem into researchable question, and this researchable question is converted into research objectives. So this is another way here. This is generally applicable for all marketing research. So here, this is nothing but a study on consumer preference to get to know who the customer are, what they want, how the customers are, how they use and react the particular product. So you can use this question for any type of marketing research. So here the perception of women customers are carefully studied by conducting the survey on consumer preference. With the help of this questions, we can frame the objectives. Study about the women consumer preference. Who are the customers? So here the women consumer preference towards a two-wheeler engine. What they want. Find the awareness level of a consumer, women consumer, regarding the two-wheeler brand. To know the important factors influencing the purchase decision of buyer. Analyze the relationship between the brand preference with reference to demographic factors. So here how they use and react the product. For this, you can this question and you can convert it into for any type of objectives. Next one is a hypothesis. So hypothesis is nothing but a proposition is put for an experiment. After experiment, you may accept a hypothesis or reject the hypothesis. So it's a predictive statement. that relate to an independent variable to a dependent variable. It must contain at least one dependent variable and one independent variable. So there are two type of hypothesis. One is a null hypothesis, another one is a alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis, the hypothesis the analyst believe to be true, and alternative hypothesis is a hypothesis to be untrue, make it effectively the opposite of the null hypothesis. So these two are a mutually exclusive one, and always any one of the hypotheses will be true. And this is used for in social science for the theory building, and it also infer the result. Another is a research design. So research design is nothing but it's a blueprint specifying how research will be carried out. It describes the location of the study area. It describes about the unit, data source, selection of a respondent, data collection instrument, data analytical tool, scope of the study, duration of the study, etc. So it's nothing but it's a complete blueprint, operational manual of research. So according to William Zumda, research design is defined a master plan specifying the method and the procedure for collection and analyzing the needed information. So it's a plan, it's a strategy of investigation. Okay, from this you can answer for the research question. So research design is a set of method and a procedure used in collecting and analyzing the measures of the variable specified in the problem research. So research design is a framework for planning your research and answering your research question. The research design, the phases can be split into four. One is a sample design, observational design, statistical design, operational design. Sampling is used when a census method is not able to use, we can go for sampling. So sampling is nothing but a mathematical function that give you a probability of any given sample being drawn. There are two type of sampling design. One is probability sampling, another one is non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, it means every element of the population enjoy equal chance of being selected, and this is absent in non-random sampling. So this is a sampling methods, various sampling methods, random and non-random sampling method. So here the simple random sampling is nothing but here the simple procedure is adopted while selecting the samples. In restricted random samples, we are following some basic principles to select the sample from the population. So this is a simple random sample. There are two methods. One is a lottery method, another one is a table of random method. In a lottery method, the population, first the elements in the population are given the number, and these are written on the chit on uniform size and picked for a sample. This is very simple without involving any tedious process. Another method is a random number method. In this method, first the sample size is determined. Then using the random number table, the required number of items is selected from the table. Another is restricted random samples. So here stratified random sampling. Here the population divided into different groups. So strata, it's nothing but a group. Then each stratum from each group, few elements are selected to constitute the sample. And if you take a same number of items from each stratum, then it is called a proportionate stratified random sampling. Systematic random sampling. Here the system is followed for selecting a sample. Here the first what you will take is a sample interval. Okay, so in this method the sample is framed by selecting the first unit at the random, then the remaining item are evenly spaced interval. Here the example is if you have 2000 college students and you have to take only 50 students from the population, then 2000 is divided by 50, and it's a class interval is a sampling interval is 40. Okay, from one sample to another sample there will be the space of 40. Okay, so from the space interval, sampling interval, you are selecting the sample. It's a systematic random sampling. And multi-stage sampling is nothing but it's a population first divided into different stage. From the first stage, few items are selected based on specific features. Example is here the in 1,000 farmers from Tamil Nadu, you have to select first divide the state into district, divide into taluk, panchayat union, panchayat village, and household. Like that, different stages. So you split it, and from this you can take the sample. And another is a non-random sampling. There is no random here, no probability we are using. So here in this method, the sample selection is purely based on the judgment of the investigator or the researcher. Convenient sample or junk method is used to select the sample unit using the convenient method without going any rigorous sampling method. Is a convenience sampling method. Another one is a quota sampling. The sample size is determined first, and then quota is fixed on various category of population. Suppose we want to select 100 students, then we might say that sample should be according to the quota given, 50% boys and 50% girls. Then 50% boys, it means boys from 20% from college, 40% from plus 2 students, 30 from high school, 10 from the secondary school. Like that, you can take that quota. Another one is a snowball sampling. A snowball sampling is nothing but it's a reference sampling. For example, if you want to identify socio-economic background of transgender, then you contact any one transgender, then that particular response will give the reference for another one, because the population is hard to access. Okay, so here the first respondent will give the reference for the second respondent, and the second respondent will give the reference for another third respondent. Like that, you can go link the chain. So this is an example of a snowball sample. Another process in the research design is observational design. It relates to the condition under which we are going to observations are made. It's in social science research technique. It involves a direct observation of any phenomena in the natural setting. And the statistical design, it deals with the how many subjects are to be observed and how the observation are to be analyzed, what type of statistical tools we are going to use. Like that, we are going to plan in this statistical design. And the operational design is it's a strategic activity that should be proceed operational management, and this is deals with the specific techniques by which a procedure specified in the sampling, statistical, and observational designs can be carried out one by one. You can carry it out the design, and there is a difference between the research method and research design. So here the research design is the overall structure of the research, whereas the research method are the procedures that will be used to collect and analyze the data, and it depends on research method depends on research design, whereas it is based on research question and problem. Another stage is the conceptual framework. So conceptual framework, it means a clear meaning of different terms and the concept that are relating to the research problem. The researcher should explain what the meaning of a particular term that you are going to use in the research. Okay, for example, foreign direct investment, FDI, if you are using that particular term, then the term you should give the explanation what is foreign direct investment, what you are referring FDI. Like that, you have to give the clear meaning and the clear definition of your concept, because it leave any room for confusion and doubt in terms of understanding the research problem. It gives a clear idea about the research. Another component is data collection. Data collection is a term to be used to describe the process of preparing and collecting the data. Systematic gathering of data for a particular purpose from the various sources. it has been systematically observed and recorded and organized. So data is very important for any type of decision making. Data is nothing but the information you are collecting from the population or the sample. The purpose is to obtain the information, to keep on record, to make a decision about an important issue, to pass the information to others, and also for answering the research questions. So these are the types of research data collection. The primary source, another one is secondary sources. So primary sources is observation, interview method, and questionnaire method. These are the primary data collection. Secondary sources is here, publication of government database, publication of international bodies, technical and trade journals, books, newspaper, reports, public record, historical document. These are all published documents. So primary data is data collected investigator by himself for a specific purpose. So these are the merits and demerits of primary data collections. The merit is targeted issue or addressed. Data interpretation is better because you are directly contacting with the respondent. So you can get the more information while interacting with the respondent. The data will be very high accuracy because researcher himself is going and going to collect the information. And it's also addressing the specific research issue because the interaction with the respondent, we're getting more information and it's a greater control. The demerit is the cost and the time. So it consumes more cost and time, and more personal and resources are needed for conducting the primary data collection. Sometimes inaccurate feedback may come because the people human tendency, people may or may not give correct information. So these are another demerit in primary data collection, and it involves more training skill to conduct the primary data collection. So when while interviewing with a person, we need to be patient to get the more information from that respondent. So we need more skill. Secondary sources, it's data collected by someone else for some other purpose, but may utilized by the investigator for his own purpose. And this merit is quick and cheap. It covers geographical area, longer orientation period, and it's leading to primary data. And the drawback is not fulfill the specific research need, and poor accuracy sometimes. Not up to date. Not up to date, it means poor accuracy, and not update means if you use secondary data for a financial performance, the researcher depends on two things. One is a company's financial statement, published financial statement, and another one is a database, Provost database or any other database. If you compare this company's published annual report with this type of database, sometimes you find the mismatch in the values. That may be a poor accuracy, or sometimes it's not updated. Database may be not be updated, or may be a poor accuracy, and poor accessible in some cases. Continuous data may be not be available for a particular period. That is also another drawback in secondary data. And the another step is processing and analyzing of data. So here the processing, it means the collected data processed in which the accuracy, completeness, uniformity of the entry, and the consistency of the information gathered are examined. It involves editing, coding, classification, and tabulation of data. So first you are collecting the data, and next one is you are processing the data. In processing, the data is edited, coded, and classified and tabulated for analyzing. So for analysis, you may use a parametric test or non-parametric test. If you know the population information completely, you can use parametric test. If it is not known, but we still require to test the hypothesis, then you can go for non-parametric test. So parameter is nothing but it's a character section of a statistical distribution. If the parameter, the characteristics called a parameter if they calculated for the population. If it is calculated for a sample, it is called statistic. So here the test after data collection and data processing, your next step is you are going to analyze the data with the help of various test parametric tester to or a non-parametric tester. You can either use this or this. With before that, you have to check what the characteristics are available. And after analyzing the data, one thing you are going to accept the hypothesis or reject the hypothesis. If your calculated value is less than the table value, you are going to accept the hypothesis, null hypothesis. If it is more, you are going to reject the null hypothesis with the table values. This is the table values of Z data. And while accepting or rejecting hypothesis, there may be an error, a type 1 error or a type 2 error, and the researcher should be very careful about framing and rejecting the hypothesis. If HO is true and you are rejecting null hypothesis, it's a type 1 error. If HO is false and you are accepting the null hypothesis, is a type 2 error. Be cautious while accepting and framing the hypothesis. Hypothesis is a proposition put for an experiment. And the report writing, it is expected to highlight the possible research finding and the usefulness in the interest of the community. For example, this is the for the past 2 or 3 years, the school dropouts very higher in Tamil Nadu. If you take 10th standard students enrollment for the examination and +2 students enrollment in examination, if you can see, there will be a continuous dropout. Okay, if you take the research on this one, this will be useful for social. Okay, you can use this research findings for the community. Okay, whatever your research, the final output should be useful for the community. And the conclusion is the last part of the research work. It summarize the problem and point out the evidence for the research work. And next one is the bibliography, a complete list of the sources used in the preparation of a research work, arranged in the order of alphabet. It's in the book format. Whatever the book you referred, whatever the journal you referred, what the report you referred, or newspaper or website, whatever it is, it should be in a order. This is the flow of research what we discussed now, and the research report. This is a format for reporting. One is the preliminary section, another is text, another one is reference material. In preliminary section, these are the component. One is the title page, preface of including acknowledgement, table of content, list of table, list of figures, and list of abbreviations should contain. And in the text, it consists of the following section. One is an introduction, main body of the report, and conclusion. And reference material, like this is generally divided as follows: bibliography, appendix, glossary of terms, index, if any, should be presented. And there's a research process. Research is an unending process. It is a chain process. So whatever it is, it's re-initiator. Okay, researching of previous things. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello.
Madam.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Madam?
Okay, sir. You have concluded the session, sir?
Yes, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Thanks for our presentation, sir. It's a really a wonderful one. Being a research scholar, I also learned about how to make a research and how to frame hypotheses and so on, sir. Now we'll move on to the questionnaire session, sir. I think no one has raised a question about research, sir. Hello.
Madam.
No one has raised any questions, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam. Today is a full day power cut. With this
Oh.
UPS, I'm struggling
Okay,
with the
okay.
power.
Okay. Anyway, sir, thank you very much for your beautiful presentation, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, sir. And
Thank you for the.
dear participants, after vote of thanks, feedback link will be presented in the chat box. You kindly fill the feedback form, and also kindly subscribe our YouTube channel so that you can join our afternoon live session. Okay, thank you. And now I call Dr. Rajesh, Department of Commerce, to propose vote of thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Honorable Secretary and the Correspondent, Director, Administrative Manager, Principal and HOD Madam, Resource Person, Professor and participants. Good morning to one and all. On behalf of PG and Research Department of Commerce and IQAC, it's a proud privilege and a great joy for me to extend the vote of thanks of all those who contributed for today the national level faculty development program on research methodology for social science. I extend my sincere thanks to Almighty and sincere thanks to our resource person, Dr. V. Deenadayalan sir, for having accepted our invitations in his busy schedule, for sharing information about research. Your session is very informative. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I thank our secretary and correspondent, Halhaj Daud Miyagan sir, for his constant motivation and encouragement in all our endeavors. I thank our director sir, Dr. Rafi, for his support and guidance extended to us. I thank our administrative manager, T. Muhammad Iqbal sir, for his constant support and motivation for each event. I thank our principal and HOD, Dr. Abdul Dawab Madam, for supporting and guiding us on every step of the event. I thank all our participants who joined the session. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our organizing committee members, Dr. Manigandan sir, Mrs. Tajnisha ma'am, Mrs. Jaya ma'am, Dr. Suresh sir, Dr. Vinayamurthy sir, and all faculty members of the department. Once again, I thank one and all who contributed for this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh sir. Dear participant, please wait. The feedback form will be posted in the chat box.
Participants, feedback link is posted. You can fill the form.
So may I leave, sir?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable session, sir.
பவர்
Thank you,
கட்
thank you so much, sir.
8:30 இன்னைக்கு பவர் கட் ஆயிடுச்சு.
Okay.
ஸோ இருக்கிற பேக்கப் வச்சு இப்போ இது பண்ணிட்டுங்க.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.